Okay. Well, it is an absolute pleasure to have you all joining us today. This is um, a topic that is near and dear to our hearts, and we're so excited to be sharing this information with you. Um, of course, our session is entitled Beyond Automation, Using AI to Create Engaging, Aligned, and Inclusive Online Courses. We often think about incorporating AI into our courses to support and to highlight different ways in which we can expedite and be more efficient. And that is certainly important. And a lot of what we're going to be sharing today are strategies and resources and tips on how to do that. But we're going to dig a little bit deeper because we understand that there are critical considerations that need to come into play when it comes to incorporating AI. And there's also a number of approaches that we can use to ensure that all who are utilizing artificial intelligence in their courses and the work that they're doing are doing so in a way that is ethical, that is supportive, and that truly enhances the learning experiences for the entire online learning community. So I am absolutely thrilled to be joined today by my colleague, Dr. Siobahn Grady, who is amongst many, many things, the director of the Institute for Artificial Intelligence and Equity Research at North Carolina Central University. And she is going to kick off our session in just a moment. I, of course, am Racheal Brooks, and I'm the Director of Quality Assurance Implementation Solutions at Quality Matters. And so I am going to turn this over to my colleague, Dr. Grady, to get us started with our session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brooks. It is my pleasure to be with such an esteemed colleague who is amazing. And if you don't know, you will know. And we're excited about our presentation for you today. Please bear with me if I cough a little bit. I am just getting over a cold, so please bear with me. But as we get started here, we would like to know what excites you most about artificial intelligence within the next 5 years. And so if you all would just take a moment to write in the chat and let us know what's exciting you about AI. We'd love to just see some of you all's thoughts here. Okay. Yes, I love it. Saving time, efficiency, creativity. Okay. I'm loving what I'm seeing, Dr. Brooks. I know you are too. Yes, brainstorming. So a lot of what you all are writing in the chat is probably the reason why you're here today, to learn more about how these tools can help empower you and how you can harness the power of these tools to be more efficient in what you're doing on your everyday job. And so we're going to keep the conversation going, but thank you all so much for providing a feedback into the chat for us. This is a guide for how we're going to go through this talk today. So first, I'm going to talk about advancing AI innovation and equity, particularly the work that we're doing at North Carolina Central University. And then we're going to get into leveraging AI for engagement, ensuring your pedagogical alignment with AI, promoting inclusivity and accessibility, and then some ethical considerations and practical strategies. And so this is a guide for how we're going to approach today's session. Thank you. All right, so let's get into advancing AI. Artificial intelligence, I'm very blessed. I'm a computer scientist, for those who don't know me. And so I'm in this field, and I just want to share with you a little bit as we get started, just the current state of diversity within artificial intelligence. So as a woman computer scientist, women are underrepresented within this group. Women make up only 6% of AI researchers and developers at top tech companies. When it comes to racial minorities, they are also underrepresented. Black people make up less than 2% of those technical roles at companies like Google and Facebook. And then there's just a lack of diversity. And we know that when there is a lack of diversity, that leads to bias. And if you don't know, a lot of AI systems are biased, and bias can be introduced at every phase as far as when you're collecting your data, when you're building your model, the population you select, all of this can happen. And so the current lack of diversity in the AI workforce continues to perpetuate historical biases and exclusions through these algorithmic systems. Next slide. And then additionally, when it comes to researchers at institutions, the elite universities are represented more often than other universities, such as like the university that I work for. So 62% of AI researchers are concentrated within the top 10 or 10 elite universities and companies. Even when it comes to citations, those that are at those top companies and universities, they're the ones that are cited the most often. And then the positions of top researchers are also held at those top companies as well. And so you can see the citation data here where you can find this information, but that continues to lead to biases and exclusions. There are organizations that have specific focuses on making AI for everyone, which is, I think, what we all want. We all want AI to be for everyone. And let me just tell you, it is for everyone. And so there's a couple of groups here that are listed. These are their logos as well. But you can see on the screen, Blacks in AI, Diversity.ai, Blacks in Technology, People of Color in Tech, and so forth. But there are companies that are dedicated specifically to making sure that everyone feels empowered to be in the space. And so very grateful for those organizations recognizing the gap in diversity there and doing their work to make the industry more inclusive. So to make things better, there are some steps we can take to increase diversity. The first thing that we can do is set some measurable diversity goals. So you can define what those goals should be and make sure they're measurable to increase those underrepresented groups within your organization over a timeline. You can update hiring practices and recruiting strategies to make sure that you are reflecting the very things that you want to accomplish within your hiring practices. And then also fostering a inclusive culture, company culture. It's important that when anyone arrives anywhere that they feel welcomed to be in that environment. And so these are some strategies and ways that you can increase diversity, but most importantly, retain that diverse talent that you might acquire. And then for AI needs, in order to succeed, AI needs diversity to succeed. The lack of representation, again, causes diverse perspectives to not be at the table. And so a lot of times when that happens, you're not thinking about everyone, which cause bias to happen. And it fails to serve some communities and populations that you want it to serve. Also, AI needs diversity to have those broader understandings, mitigating bias. When you do that, you find those blind spots. And then also when you have more diversity, it leads to better decisions. Because when we think about everyone, we're more likely to have better outcomes. And then having more inclusive products as well that allow for the diverse population that society exists in. A little bit more about me. I think I mentioned to you all that I'm a computer scientist. My research area is in artificial intelligence and machine learning, and I have my vision here for you all to read on the screen, but I just want an inclusive future for everyone so that everyone can see themselves in this work. And so there's some ways that I do this work. I have served as a role model for the American Association for the Advancement of Science. There was an initiative called the If Then Initiative, and I was part of, in 2022, the largest exhibit of women's statues in the United States and the world. And I was in the Smithsonian, featured among 120 plus other STEM women, which I was grateful to be a part of. And through that work, I served as a national STEM role model. I also do mentorship where I work with students to do this work in AI and STEM, which I love doing. And I do that through a research lab that I developed here at North Carolina Central University called the Laboratory for Artificial Intelligence and Equity Research. And now we have an institute that you heard Dr. Bruce mention. The institute is so important because it is the first of its kind at any historically Black college or university in the nation. And our institute is called the Institute for Artificial Intelligence and Equity Research, and that serves the entire university population. And I'll talk a little bit more about the work that we're doing there. Also have scholarships, which is great because any student, when we can take the financial barrier out of the picture, they can truly focus on their studies. So I'm very grateful to do that. And I'm always and have always and will continue to broaden participation in computing. I know that even though computer science is my discipline, everyone doesn't feel comfortable. I'm assuming everybody here is most likely an early adopter of AI. And even if you aren't an early adopter, you're here because you want to learn more. So that means you want to adopt and get better at what you're doing. So that's a lot of what I do by broadening participation. The only difference is I work primarily a lot of times with young people. And I'm excited about that because they have the potential to change the world. These are some of my students that you can see in the middle picture here. We had an ugly Christmas sweater there. This is our lab, some work that I've done. And then in the bottom picture, that is when our institute was funded by google.org with $1 million to get started in doing this work. And we're already doing that. And this is just a little bit about my research lab there. And I've already talked about the mentorship and all the great work we're doing there. And I'm continuing to do it now through the Institute. Okay. So now I want to talk a little bit about the Institute that we have going on at North Carolina Central University. And so it is a game changer. Let me just start there. It's a game changer. I already mentioned to you all that it's funded by google.org and that it's the first of its kind. It is all of those things, and it is simply changing the way that we are doing business here at NCCU. The Institute doesn't belong to any particular school or college. It is through the Office of the Provost, and so it touches every unit on campus. And so the mission is to advance AI with a focus on equity and innovation. And then we have some key areas that you can see on the screen, such as ethical AI and policy, AI for social good, and we are doing some workforce development. When it comes to the research and innovation, the one thing that we have, or a couple things that we have that's not like any other institute of this kind, is that we have some cross collaborations. We have a wonderful school of law that we're working with. Our law school has a technology and policy center on campus as well. So we're partnering heavily together, also with the School of Business, and then all of our STEM fields. And we're looking to work within our community. NCCU is a pillar within the Durham community, and we want to make sure that we're giving our community solutions and bringing them along with us as well. Because like I mentioned, AI is for everyone, and we know the digital divide is probably widening with the use of artificial intelligence. And so we have some interdisciplinary research as well that you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, but we're really doing some really innovative things here on campus, and we're really proud of that work. When it comes to our workforce development, we are preparing the next generation of technologists. And so we're building this talent pipeline. We're looking to impact 200 students over the course of 2 years through AI research and with training. They'll be getting some hands-on training, learning with data science, some AI ethics, and also through internships and corporate partnerships. And we're doing that by creating some industry partners. And we've already done that, actually. By the way, our institute began in January of this year, and we already have collaborations and partnerships with Google, Cisco, OpenAI, FICO, and Anthropic. So we've been very busy, as you can imagine, and more great work to come. So we're basically upskilling our programs so to meet the needs of the industry and making sure our students are well positioned to go out and be leaders in this space. I've already talked about the partnerships. One partnership I didn't talk about is we have a partnership with a local library. Excuse me, not library, a museum, the Museum of Life and Science here in Durham. And we've been able to actually conduct some AI workshops with the children in the community. And so again, I mentioned to you, AI is for everyone. And the sooner we can give people access to learn and use these skill sets, the better off that we'll all be, because the technology is just not going anywhere. And so if you're not an early adopter, that's okay. But just like everything else tech related, it just keeps expanding and growing. So the sooner you jump on the train, the better it is. And so these are the partnerships. I've already talked about the different units on campus that we are working with as well. And when we think about the future of AI at North Carolina Central, we're going to just keep doing the great work we're doing. We're going to increase our funding and our research initiatives, and we're going to just continue to create the talent pipeline that we already have here. And we're going to grow our student population and our faculty involvement. We really don't want people to see this as something that is discipline specific. AI is for everyone. And that is the message that I am promoting constantly, because it is the truth. It's for everyone. And so we're going to strengthen the workforce development by creating some certification programs. We've already been having AI workshops on campus from a lot of those industry leaders that you saw on the last slide. We're going to have some online courses, and we will continue to position NCCU as a leader in AI equity. This is how you can get involved. I'm telling you about the great work we're doing at NCCU. However, this is an opportunity where if you are doing similar work at your institution or want to learn more, this is a call to action to you on how you can get involved and reach out to us. So for students, and I don't think there are students in here, but industry professionals or those who are like-minded, feel free to contact me. I know it's on one of these pages on the slides, but contact me, and I promise you there'll be a way for us to work together in doing the great work we're doing here, but also on your university campus as well. Okay.
Dr. Grady.
Yes, I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. Brooks, and thank you so much for the warm introduction. And I'm excited about what you're going to share with our participants.
Thank you so much. We are thrilled to share with you now, as we talked about the importance of AI, research that currently exists around why we want to be intentional about the various ways in which we incorporate artificial intelligence into the design of our courses, the instruction of our courses, and the work that we do in general. So what Dr. Grady and I have prepared for you now are elements that are aligned with the work that she does in the Institute for Artificial Intelligence and Equity Research. And these are best practices and strategies that you can incorporate. What you will find on the upcoming slides are not only considerations pulled from research that has been conducted, but also strategies and best practices that you can apply right now. We also have links, and I'm actually going to share. I know we're going to have this available to you in the conference site, but I'm going to put a link for everyone in the chat to, there we go, to our presentation online as well. So while you are waiting for the PDF, you are also able to access the presentation itself using the link that we just pasted in the chat. And what you will find on those slides are direct links to each of the AI tools that we are going to be sharing with you today. So we encourage you to explore. Some of them, a lot of them are free, some of them are paid. None of them are endorsed by Quality Matters or NCCU, but they're great tools, and we encourage you to explore them. Okay. All right. So let us dig right in. So first, we're going to be talking about how we can enhance student interaction through AI. Some of the considerations that we want to take into account are utilizing chatbots. This is a great way to help reduce some of the load that we have as instructors as we're facilitating our courses, and being able to answer student questions or help us improve our response times. This is also great for our students to be able to use as virtual teaching assistants and also to support real-time discussions. As Dr. Grady had pointed out, ChatGPT through OpenAI, which is something that we are sure many of you, if not everyone on our conversation today, are familiar with, but it provides ways in which we can support conversations, particularly through enhancing our frequently asked questions section. I know I use this all the time in the courses that I teach. Um, it is great for assignment clarification as well as tutoring. So for, just out of transparency, while my full-time role is with Quality Matters, I also maintain an adjunct teaching appointment. So I still teach online courses. And I am currently teaching 2 graduate courses, one in statistics and one in research methods in education. And when I tell you my time is precious, so I love using AI to help facilitate the work that I'm doing. We'll talk a little bit later about some of the ethical approaches in doing so, but you want to be transparent with your students about how you're using AI. And I let them know that I am using it to support me supporting them. Um, it's also a great way to help increase engagement with your students, as well as by providing immediate and personalized interactions. Another tool that you see here is WooClap. So WooClap is a tool that is great for synchronous sessions and those live interactive lectures. It also provides live quizzes. It allows you to use word clouds and open-ended responses. We also want to think about how we can incorporate AI to help support personalized learning experiences. So in doing so, it can tailor and individualize a student's experience as they are going through the online courses by using their data. It also helps to support increased student motivation as well as improve retention, and it can help enhance self-paced learning. So I encourage you to take a look at the study that we have listed here. But Kasravi, let me make sure I'm saying that correctly, Kasravi, Keto, and Williams, in conducting a study at the University of Queensland of 453 students, found that utilizing an adaptive learning platform using AI that was referred to as Ripple. So it's the recommendation in personalized peer learning environments. But in using this tool with these 453 students, they found that not only did it lead to measurable learning gains for these students, but the students themselves perceived that utilizing this platform in conjunction with the learning management system that they had access to was beneficial to their learning experiences. So some tools that you may consider using include Socratic by Google, which allows for AI-powered explanations on a variety of subjects in different disciplines, and it also provides real-time support to learners. Another tool is Newton Alta, which is an adaptive learning platform that also personalizes the learning experience and adapts to students' progress through the course, which is a great way to boost student success. Now, here are some strategies that you can incorporate for implementing AI as it relates to engagement. Think about integrating chatbots to support dialogue and provide instant feedback. Some of them you can integrate directly into your learning management systems. You also may want to consider how you can use AI to help support discussion prompts and generating discussion prompts. As I had shared, I teach online pretty consistently. And when you teach a course after multiple years and multiple terms, you want to liven up the discussions. Using AI is a great way to help come up with new ways of asking questions and challenging students to apply what they're learning to real life scenarios that they are going to encounter in their fields. A great tool that you can use is Mentimeter. And I just came from a session where a colleague was using Mentimeter in that session. But it's a great way for enhancing polling and quizzing those who are participating in those discussions, as well as promoting live engagement for synchronous sessions. Now, another one, I know we've all had ups and downs with Duolingo. Y'all, Duolingo has upgraded. Duolingo now uses GPT-4, and it is called Duolingo Max. I'm a little nervous. I haven't used it yet. I'm still on green Duolingo's naughty list when it comes to my Korean language lessons. But Duolingo Max now uses GPT-4, which adapts their language learning pathways based on your performance. And it's a great way to show how gamification using AI can help increase motivation. Some other best practices we want to consider are developing interactive content, such as simulations or branching scenarios. We can also use video tools with AI analytics to help increase engagement and consider adopting tools that provide immediate and personalized feedback. Some of these tools might include, for example, H5P interactive content tool that we have linked there that provides support for interactive video creation, or Packback, which is an AI driven discussion platform that encourages thoughtful engagement. Now, let's take a quick look at how we can ensure pedagogical alignment with AI. We know, especially through Quality Matters, alignment is critical to the success of our learners because we want to make sure that all of the components that are present in our courses work together to support students in meeting the objectives. Well, one of the ways that we can approach that is by using AI to help us ensure that what we have present in our courses truly does map to the learning objectives in such a way that the assessments, the materials, and the learning activities all support learners in meeting the objectives. So AI can also help us as course developers identify where there might be gaps or where there might be redundancies. As I shared, as we're teaching courses and redesigning courses across multiple semesters or academic terms, it's very easy to continue to add and add, but it's important for us to make sure that we are assessing what is present in our courses. And AI is a great way for us to streamline that assessment process for ourselves to make sure that our students aren't just doing busy work, but everything that they're doing is appropriate and supportive of them meeting the objectives. So I see one of our colleagues shared in the chat that they love CourseTune. Yes, CourseTune is fantastic for supporting that curriculum mapping and visualization. Another resource that's very helpful is Sana Labs, which personalizes pathways specifically at an institutional level. So for those of you who are responsible for that program level mapping, or you may be supporting your institution as it relates to the alignment of online programs, the assessment of the work that's being done as it ties into accreditation standards, and you have to report out from that very macro level. This is a great resource that you can use to ensure that coherence across courses within a curriculum. Okay, now as it relates to maintaining academic rigor, and I apologize because I know I'm speaking quickly, but we want to get all of this to you. But as it relates to maintaining academic rigor, we can use AI tools to help support content development while also promoting quality. We do not have to jeopardize quality to as we are going in and developing content, and we can use AI to help us ensure that that quality piece remains there. And we know that although AI is a tool, it is critical for us to make sure that we are not relying solely on AI. And you'll see this as a theme, but also making sure that we are infusing faculty and developer expertise as that oversight, the oversight component, I guess, of this equation. So one of the tools that we can use for this is Grammarly, particularly the AI writing assistant, which allows us to receive real-time feedback on grammar, tone, as well as clarity. And Testly is another tool that is very helpful as it supports AI-driven proctoring, as well as making sure that we are maintaining secure exam environments when we are assessing our learners, which obviously helps promote academic rigor and academic integrity. Some considerations to keep in mind as we are actually employing these different tools is to make sure that we are mapping our content to our objectives. As much as AI is a helpful resource and a tool to help us do this work, we must always come back to that foundational understanding of our learning objectives drive the direction of our courses. And we must ensure that alignment is present because the goal of this learning experience is to make sure that our learners have what they need to achieve the objectives that we've stated in that particular course. We also can use AI tools to help us develop and refine assessments that effectively measure those objectives. And we can use AI again for content mapping via platforms that align the content with accreditation standards. So we know that many of our learning management systems offer these types of not only analytics, but specifically the alignment feature. And one of them is Brightspace Insights that's available through D2L. Um, which allows us to map student progress to learning objectives. And Inspira assessment is a tool that creates varied and robust assessments. So as we're thinking about, what are these assessments that we can use and how can AI support us in creating or curating assessments that actually measure the objectives? Inspira is a wonderful tool to be able to do exactly that. Now, some other best practices for AI integration and course design include, of course, making sure that we are infusing that human oversight to maintain academic integrity and to prevent over reliance. As wonderful a tool AI is, we want to make sure that it is a thinking partner, it is a work partner, but not a replacement. And so we do not want to overly rely on the use of AI, but we want to, just as we use any other tool, make sure that we are exploring ways in which it can help us to be more efficient in the work that we are still doing. We want to assess AI generated materials for accuracy as well as goal alignment, and we can use it to streamline content creation while also allowing us to focus more of our energy on that regular and substantive instructor to student interaction. So tools that you can consider using are Otter AI, which transcribes meetings and lectures using AI-driven accuracy, and it also supports accessibility and aids in content validation. And then Perusal, which also allows for collaborative document annotation, as well as encourages deep reading and supports that alignment with discussions. Now, I saw coming through the chat if there is a master list of resources available. Yes, please be sure, a little bit. Be sure to to access the slides that are available here. But please know, this is not an exhaustive list. These are tools that Dr. Grady and I either have experimented with, we have worked with colleagues who have utilized these tools, or just in research in general have found that these are tools that have been used by others in manners that are effective in supporting the work that they're doing and creating these positive learning experiences for their students. So please continue to encourage and engage. I saw earlier, of course, we do have that Padlet for the Research Online Conference. So if there are tools that you are using that you would like to recommend and share, please feel free to do so that we can continue to develop a more comprehensive list of resources that are available. Now, let's talk about promoting inclusivity and accessibility with AI. As Dr. Grady had shared earlier, promoting inclusivity and accessibility is critical to the work that we are doing and to the successful implementation of artificial intelligence in the online learning experience. We know that having a deeper understanding of all individuals who are involved in the online learning community allows for the use of AI to be more comprehensive and to be more accurate. So as it relates to how we can enhance accessibility with AI, consider that we want to make sure that in using AI, it facilitates improving accessibility by providing automatic captioning. It can allow for translations as well as generation of alternative text. How many times have you had an image on the screen and you were trying to figure out what is the best way to describe this image? Let it help you to come up with a draft of alternative text that you can use. Still, with that human oversight, you may need to modify it, but it is a great thinking partner as you are promoting accessibility in your online courses. It also allows for the availability of real-time accessibility improvements to course content and it fosters student motivation by supporting broader ways in which they can engage with content, particularly as it relates to self-directed learning. So tools that you can use include Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services, which provides speech to text translation as well as accessibility tools. And now I don't know, I'm going to see if I can say it's either Equate.io or Equatio. But either way, this particular tool reads and creates accessible math problems, which is incredibly beneficial. This is a tool that I'm going to be incorporating more in my online statistics course because, of course, we utilize a variety of math problems. And I want to ensure that all learners who are participating in the course have access to what is presented. I currently use a tool that is very beneficial through a publisher. But I'm excited about the opportunities that are available utilizing AI because when we are holding, live optional check-ins with students, it's nice to know that I have at my disposal a tool that can support the provision of accessible math equations, even if it's not coming directly from the publisher. Now, we also want to think about how, the importance of fostering inclusive learning environments with with AI, excuse me. And we know that this is critical because we must identify and make sure that we are actively and effectively addressing situations that Dr. Grady had just pointed out regarding algorithmic bias and content that is generated by AI. We know that AI relies that are provided to it. And so if there is bias or if there is misrepresentation of what is fed to it, it's going to generate content that is going to reflect those biases that exist. We also want to make sure that we are utilizing AI to represent diverse perspectives and avoid cultural insensitivity. I'd like to point out there's a study that's listed here by Saborio Taylor and Rojas Ramirez that I encourage you to check out regarding their exploration of how we can look at the intersection between universal design for learning and artificial intelligence. And what I really liked about this particular research that they explored was that they provided examples of how various types of application for ways in which we as developers can use AI to support multiple means of representation, multiple means of expression, as well as multiple means of engagement. So for example, for multiple means of for representation, they used an AI tool such as Pictochart, and they identified how students benefit from various ways in which we can present content to help solidify what it is that they are studying. And sometimes it is challenging to think of, okay, well, how can we represent this in a different manner? Using a tool such as Pictochart facilitates that process of creating different varieties of representation that can be shared with students. As it related to expression, they used a tool that was called TinyWow. TinyWow is a tool that allows students to be able to create different outputs, such as podcasts or videos, that allow them to express in a manner that is most convenient for them or highlights their strengths, that they are achieving the stated objectives of the course. So we want to think about, how can we support students in these different types of expression and provide them tools that they can use to facilitate that expression. And with engagement, they had used a tool or they had recommended a tool such as Beta Character AI, which is a way in which students were able to engage through a self-paced process. It created those adaptable learning pathways based on student performance. And so this was just a wonderful study that explored how we can utilize AI to support universal design for learning. Here, we have on the screen IBM Watson OpenScale. Now, this is for our colleagues who are a little more involved in coding and maybe developing their own AI models. You can use this tool to check for bias and fairness in your own AI models that you're creating. Dr. Grady had pointed out diversity AI that identifies bias in text and media, and it also is a community that supports the creation of content that reflects diverse perspectives. Now, as it relates to different strategies that can be used, we want to incorporate translation software, for example, that is supportive of multilingual learners. We can incorporate voice activated AI assistants to enhance accessibility, as well as using tools that adapt open educational resources to be more accessible. So Sonocent Audio Note Taker is a great tool that will process audio content into accessible notes. And we also have Kurzweil 3000, which is a text-to-speech software. And this is a great tool to support learners who may have dyslexia or who have a variety of vision impairments. Oh, take it back. There we go. So as it relates to some practices for inclusive AI integration, we want to make sure that we're regularly evaluating AI systems for potential bias, as well as being mindful of training data that reflects diverse populations. AI Fairness 360, also by IBM, is a great open source toolkit that helps to detect and mitigate bias. And Text.io is a tool that can be used for writing assistance to help identify unconscious bias. And it detects language as well as suggests alternatives that are more inclusive. Now, we're going to wrap up our conversation by highlighting some quick considerations and practical strategies for ethical use of AI. We want to make sure, of course, that our institutions, as they are selecting tools, are doing so in a way that verifies that these tools are in compliance with our variety of privacy laws, such as FERPA. We also need to keep in mind that these different AI systems, of course, can have bias that have contributed to the training data, which can lead to unequal treatment or exclusion of certain student groups in those outputs. So it's important for us to seek clarity on how AI decisions are made. We often talk about AI models are sort of what are considered black boxes. There's no clarity necessarily around how AI decisions are made. So it's important for us when we're selecting these different tools to ask those questions of the creators. How are decisions made? Look through the websites as you are choosing your tools so that you can ensure that you are providing clarity where there may have previously been that decision-making ambiguity. And as we had shared earlier, we want to make sure that we are not replacing critical thinking or original work through over-reliance on AI. We still want to make sure that that is present. So using it as a tool and not as a replacement. Consider exploring Fair Learn by Microsoft, which is an open source toolkit that helps to support fairness, as well as OpenMind, which is another community-driven platform related to privacy preserving AI applications. And rounding out our conversation, I'd like to share with you just some quick guidelines for AI integration. So, of course, we want to make sure that there are clear institutional guidelines regarding privacy with the use of AI, that we are communicating transparently with our students how we're using it and showing them how to effectively and ethically use AI, making sure that we're not allowing AI to replace us, but we are infusing human judgment, and that our tools are accessible to all learners, particularly those with disabilities. So Data Robot is another tool that I'd like to share with you, which provides transparent AI model explanations. And then Consent Kit is also another wonderful tool, which manages consent for data collection. And it does ensure compliance with privacy laws and ethical data use. So I leave you just with some contact information for Dr. Grady at the Institute for Artificial Intelligence and Equity Research, as well as with me at QM Consulting, if you would ever like to reach out for additional insights regarding how you might incorporate AI, research that you are interested in engaging in, or if you would like to have some continued conversations at your institution, we are available and more than happy to support. So I know we are at our time, as I see my fantastic room host still letting us know. But if you have any questions, please feel free to share them in the chat. And thank you so much for joining us. I know it was a lot, but I hope you found it valuable and helpful as you continue your research and utilization of AI.
Thank you, Dr. Brooks, and thank you, Dr. Grady. This was a wonderful session full of resources. Thank you for making those slides available to everyone. I am going to save the chat to make that available with the other resources as well. This has been Beyond Automation, using AI to create engaging, aligned, and inclusive online courses. Now you have a few minutes to get up and stretch and get a drink of water before the next session. We have one more session coming up, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.